What if the pursuit of perfect beauty could quietly erase the face that made someone unforgettable? Hollywood promised cosmetic surgery could stop time, restore confidence, and perfect nature. But for some celebrities, that promise became a lifelong warning. Before you see these shocking transformations, discover how ambition, insecurity, fame, and endless procedures change lives, fortunes, and identities forever. The real stories behind these famous faces are even more astonishing than the photographs themselves, and they may change how you judge. Long before tabloids crowned her the Catwoman of New York, Jocelyn Wildenstein lived a life few people could imagine. Born in Switzerland, she entered Manhattan's elite after marrying billionaire art dealer Alec Wildenstein, becoming a familiar figure among the world's wealthiest social circles. Surrounded by unimaginable luxury, she appeared to have everything money could buy. Yet beneath the glamorous lifestyle, a very different story was quietly unfolding. Then, the transformation began. Over the years, Jocelyn underwent an extraordinary number of cosmetic procedures that gradually reshaped nearly every feature of her face. Media reports often linked her feline appearance to her husband's fascination with exotic cats, although Jocelyn herself offered different explanations throughout the years. Whatever the motivation, the physical changes became impossible to ignore. Her dramatic look turned her into one of the most recognizable figures in plastic surgery history, attracting worldwide attention and endless public debate. The fascination with her appearance eventually overshadowed everything else. Her highly publicized divorce, financial setbacks, and changing public image transformed her into a symbol of both extraordinary privilege and personal loss. Perhaps Jocelyn's story has never been about cosmetic surgery alone. It is about the powerful desire to preserve love, youth, or identity in a world that constantly demands perfection. Sometimes the greatest transformation isn't what surgery changes on the outside, but what the pursuit of perfection quietly takes away from within. Long before her appearance became a topic of public fascination, Donatella Versace was already one of fashion's most influential women. As the creative force behind one of the world's most recognizable luxury brands, she inherited an extraordinary responsibility after the tragic loss of her brother, Gianni Versace, in 1997. Overnight, she found herself protecting a global empire while carrying the weight of an irreplaceable legacy. Every runway show, every collection, and every public appearance placed her under relentless international scrutiny. Then, people began noticing more than her designs. As the years passed, Donatella's face evolved almost as dramatically as the fashion house she led. Repeated cosmetic procedures, including fillers, Botox, and facial rejuvenation treatments, gradually transformed the features the public had known for decades. Rather than hiding from criticism, Donatella embraced her own philosophy, once famously remarking that natural was a word better suited for vegetables than people. Her confidence divided public opinion, with some admiring her refusal to apologize, while others questioned the immense pressure the fashion industry places on aging. Today, Donatella represents one of Hollywood's greatest contradictions. She successfully preserved the Versace legacy and remained a defining force in global fashion. Yet her changing appearance became almost as recognizable as her remarkable career. Her story reminds us that behind every public image lies a human being navigating grief, expectation, and the impossible standards of an industry built on appearances. Unlike many people who pursued cosmetic surgery to look younger or more glamorous, Pixie Fox dreamed of becoming something that had never existed in real life. Growing up in Sweden, she admired animated characters more than Hollywood celebrities, imagining a world where fantasy could replace ordinary human appearance. Instead of copying someone else's beauty, she set out to create a living work of art inspired by characters like Jessica Rabbit and Tinkerbell. Then, imagination became reality. Determined to achieve an impossibly tiny waist and exaggerated proportions, Pixie invested more than $100,000 in cosmetic procedures. She underwent multiple rhinoplasties, breast augmentations, brow lifts, body contouring procedures, and one of her most controversial decisions, the removal of 6 lower ribs. Medical experts repeatedly warned about the potential long-term effects of such extensive alterations. Yet Pixie continued pursuing the vision she believed reflected her creativity rather than conventional beauty. To critics, her transformation became an example of cosmetic surgery taken beyond reasonable limits. To Pixie, however, every procedure represented another brushstroke on an unfinished masterpiece. She has consistently described her body as a canvas, believing that personal freedom includes the right to reshape one's appearance according to individual dreams. Her remarkable journey reminds us that beauty means different things to different people. Sometimes the greatest controversy begins when imagination refuses to accept the boundaries of ordinary reality. Long before the world knew her as Jessica Alves, she was widely recognized as the human Ken doll, a title earned through years of dramatic cosmetic procedures intended to create an idealized masculine appearance. Born in Brazil as Rodrigo Alves, she spent much of her early adulthood believing that changing her body could finally bring inner peace. Over time, she invested hundreds of thousands of pounds in surgeries, chasing an image that seemed perfect on the outside but never truly reflected who she felt she was within. Then, everything became clear. During a professional photo shoot where she wore women's clothing for the first time, Jessica described seeing a reflection that finally felt authentic. That experience marked a profound turning point, leading her to publicly come out as a transgender woman in 2020 and begin a new chapter of her life. Her transition included facial feminization procedures, hormone therapy, voice training, and gender-affirming surgery, all undertaken to align her appearance with her identity rather than to pursue unrealistic perfection. Today, Jessica speaks openly about both the physical and emotional realities of her journey. While critics often focus on the number of surgeries, she believes those procedures helped her become the person she always knew herself to be. Her story reminds us that not every transformation begins with vanity. Sometimes, the most meaningful changes happen when someone finally stops trying to become someone else and starts becoming themselves. Long before cosmetic surgery became part of her public identity, Farrah Abraham was simply a young mother whose life unfolded in front of millions of television viewers. Rising to fame through Teen Mom, she grew up under constant public scrutiny, where every decision, every mistake, and every personal milestone became entertainment. As the years passed, the pressure to remain youthful and camera-ready intensified, making appearance an unavoidable part of her career. Then, the headlines shifted. What began with a breast augmentation gradually expanded into a series of cosmetic procedures, including rhinoplasty, chin enhancement, lip fillers, and repeated facial treatments. With every new appearance, fans noticed another subtle change, comparing her evolving features with the teenager they first met on television. Unlike many celebrities who avoided discussing cosmetic surgery, Farrah rarely concealed her decisions, insisting they reflected her own choices rather than anyone else's expectations. Yet her transformation also reflected a larger cultural reality. Social media filters, reality television, and constant online criticism created an environment where perfection often seemed more valuable than authenticity. For someone living under relentless public attention, changing her appearance became almost as routine as making another television appearance. Perhaps Farrah's story is about more than cosmetic surgery. It reveals how fame can magnify insecurities, turning personal decisions into public debates. Her journey reminds us that the greatest pressure isn't always growing older. It's growing older while the entire world is watching every change. Long before the world knew him as the stalking cat, Dennis Avner lived a life defined by discipline rather than spectacle. Born in Flint, Michigan, he served in the United States Navy and later built a successful career as a computer technician. Quiet, intelligent, and deeply spiritual, Dennis believed his outward appearance never fully reflected the identity he carried within. For him, transformation was never about attracting attention. It was about becoming the person he believed he was always meant to be. Then, his extraordinary journey truly began. Inspired by his Native American heritage and spiritual guidance, Dennis embraced the image of the tiger as a powerful symbol of strength, instinct, and purpose. Over many years, he underwent at least 14 major body modification procedures, including facial implants, pointed ears, custom porcelain teeth, extensive tattooing, and other alterations that gradually reshaped nearly every visible feature. His appearance earned worldwide media attention and a place in Guinness World Records, yet fame was never his primary goal. Away from the cameras, Dennis continued working in technology and lived a surprisingly private, structured life. Those who knew him often described him as thoughtful, respectful, and remarkably gentle, despite his intimidating appearance. Dennis passed away in 2012 at the age of 54. His story remains one of the most extraordinary examples of personal transformation, reminding us that identity is sometimes far more complex than appearances can ever reveal to the outside world. Before cosmetic surgery defined his public image, Pete Burns was already unforgettable. As the magnetic frontman of Dead or Alive, he helped shape the sound and style of the 1980s with his chart-topping hit You Spin Me Round, like a record. His fearless fashion, striking appearance, and refusal to follow convention made him an icon who celebrated individuality long before it became mainstream. Then, one procedure changed everything. What began as surgery to correct a broken nose gradually evolved into a decades-long cycle of cosmetic operations. Pete pursued countless procedures in search of a look that reflected his artistic vision rather than traditional beauty. Unfortunately, several surgeries resulted in serious complications, including severe infections that required complex reconstructive treatment. Instead of walking away, he continued searching for results that always seemed just beyond reach. Despite enduring physical pain and repeated setbacks, Pete rarely expressed regret about living life on his own terms. He often explained that his goal was never to look ordinary or even conventionally attractive. He wanted to become someone entirely unique, regardless of public opinion. When Pete passed away in 2016 following sudden cardiac arrest, he left behind far more than headlines about cosmetic surgery. He remained a groundbreaking performer whose creativity influenced generations of artists. His remarkable journey reminds us that self-expression can be both inspiring and deeply complicated, especially when the pursuit of identity begins to blur the line between artistic freedom and personal sacrifice. Raji Narina Singh never imagined that her search for confidence would become an international warning about the dangers of illegal cosmetic procedures. As a transgender woman with limited financial resources, she dreamed of aligning her appearance with the person she had always known herself to be. Unfortunately, safe and affordable medical care remained beyond her reach, forcing her toward a decision that would permanently change her life. Then, hope gave way to heartbreak. In 2005, Raji underwent illegal facial injections performed by an unlicensed practitioner in Florida. Instead of approved cosmetic fillers, she reportedly received a dangerous mixture of industrial substances that hardened beneath her skin, leaving her face severely disfigured. The physical complications were devastating, but the emotional impact proved even greater. For years, she withdrew from public life, struggling with embarrassment, isolation, and the fear that she might never recognize herself again. Everything changed when her story reached the television series Botched. Plastic surgeons Dr. Terry Dubrow and Dr. Paul Nassif accepted her extraordinarily difficult case, performing multiple reconstructive procedures to remove the hardened material and restore both function and confidence. Although complete reversal was impossible, the surgeries offered something equally valuable: renewed hope. Today, Raji has transformed her painful experience into a mission of education and advocacy. Her remarkable journey reminds us that true beauty should never come at the expense of safety, and that resilience can often emerge from life's most difficult moments. As you've seen, the pursuit of perfection can sometimes come with unexpected consequences. Which transformation surprised you the most, and whose story stayed with you after watching? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next journey into Hollywood's most fascinating true stories. Thank you for watching.